Okay, folks, welcome back to geometry. Today we're going to be running through page 272 with a quick review of some of the concepts you could expect to see on the test. And then at the end of the video, I will give you the review assignment, which we will look at in glorious detail tomorrow, hopefully. First of all, regarding submission of assignments, most of you done very well. Please remember in the subject line, I want you to put geometry followed by the page number, such as page 272, and that's all I want to see in the subject line. Unless you're sending me something for some other purpose, like a makeup assignment, you can write the word makeup or something like that. But let's reserve the subject line just for subject and page number. That'll help me tremendously as I sort through all the emails in my inbox. Excuse me. Now, there's one really nice thing. Oh, excuse me. No, I don't think I have corona. There's one really nice thing about doing this online. I don't have to deal with weird distractions. There are no chickens that are going to be pulled out and played around with while my back is turned. Nothing like that. No foolishness, no objects being thrown across the room. It's kind of nice. So I have really enjoyed having the absence of all the weird distractions. But now, let's move on to page 272. Starting here. Oh, first of all, a review of the concepts. What's this thing called? What's that P word? This is called that word that no one seemed to want to repeat back to me in class. This is called yep, I heard it, good, thank you. A proportion. A proportion is just two fractions or two ratios equal to each other. Anytime you have a proportion, excuse me, from that proportion you can write three other ratios. One you can write is what I call upside down. B over A equals, think about it, stay with me, focus. What comes next? D over C. Another one is what I call reading it sideways. That would be A over, think it out with me, A over C equals B over D. Can I go A over C equals D over B? No. You have to be consistent. They must both go the same direction. And we can do what I call sideways backwards, which is C over A. C over A equals D over B. On the test, I will give you a proportion like that. And I will simply ask you to write three new proportions. Here is one that you ought not do, that you will not get credit for. If you take any one of these and simply write something like, if I take that one and use it to write D over C equals B over A, that will be wrong. Because that is the same thing as that. That is not a new proportion. It doesn't count. Now, something that some folks have done in the past, getting a little more bold, a little more daring, they've used that other weird rule that says I can add the denominator to the numerator, A plus B over B, as long as I also add that denominator to that numerator, C plus D over D. Why did that work? Well, as we discussed in class, because I'm really not adding B to one side and D to the other. I'm actually adding B over B to the left side and D over D to the right side. I'm actually adding 1 to both sides of the fraction. That's why that works. And that could have been inserted as one of your three answers down here. Although very rarely does anyone do that. But you could, and it would be full credit. All right. Next thing we need to review quickly is the material from, I believe, the very last time we met. we have two theorems and a corollary that all look very different but say exactly the same thing. This one said that, for instance, A over B equals C over D. Or you could do it upside down. B over A equals D over C. Or sideways, A over C equals B over D, as long as you're consistent in how you do it. Or you could even do B over J equals D over K. Or A over J equals C over K. And then the one that messes folks up most often. E over F, think whole side of little triangle and whole side of big triangle. E over F equals A over J, not A over B, but A over J. A over A plus B. A over J equals E over F. Now you try it. E over F likewise would equal what? C over, yes, over K. Whole side of little triangle over whole side of big triangle equals whole side of little triangle over whole side of big triangle. E over F equals C over K, not C over D. No. Here it's even easier. As long as these three guys are parallel and you've got two transversals, then A over B equals C over D. And all the others you could write from there. And likewise here, if you have a triangle and the one angle has been bisected, if one angle has been bisected, then A over B equals C over D once again. Or if you prefer, B over D equals A over C. Or D over C equals B over A, or whatever. All right. Now with all that in mind, let's jump into number 1 from the assignment. If you have not submitted the assignment yet, and there are a few of you who have not, it is now late. I will still accept it for decreased credit, even though you're about to see all of, well, maybe not all of the answers, but most of them. By the way, pull out, since you still have your papers, obviously, pull out your papers and follow along. To be honest with you, some papers I spot checked as I went, but I had so many assignments to process in my 5 classes that I could not look at every paper in detail. So you may have gotten a 4 in RenWeb, but you may have had half the problems wrong. I don't know. So now is your chance to take out your paper and make sure that you're doing everything correctly. Oh, and sometimes I do spot check, and if I see a problem that's got a lot of problems with a lot of wrong answers, then yes, I do downgrade it. But I can't do that all the time. Number 1, part A. Is this true or false? Does R over S equal A over B? Does R over S, they start off with one of the tricky ones. Whole side of little triangle, whole side of big triangle. Is that equal to A over B? Is that equal to whole side of little triangle and just a piece of the big one? No. False. What should they have written? If they had changed the B into a J, then they've got something. R over S does equal A over J. Let me change colors here. Okay. For part B, is J over A, the whole side here, over the whole side of the small triangle, J over A, is that equal to S over R? Yes. Big guy over little guy equals big guy over little guy. Yes, they got it right that time. Part C, is A over B equal to N over T? Is A over B equal to N over T? Yes. Piece over piece equals piece over piece. That's how I think of it. The piece of this side and the piece of that side, the piece of this side and the piece of that side. Put a check mark there. D, is T over K equal to A over J? Is T over, did I say T over key? Whatever. Is T over K equal to A over J? Well, they had the right idea. But if you're going to use T over K, you have to use B over J, not A. They messed up. That should have been a B. So they were wrong. Part E, R over S, is it equal to N over K? R over S equal to N over K? Yes. Whole side of little triangle, whole side of big triangle, whole side of little triangle, whole side of big triangle. R over S does equal N over K. Ta-da. Part F, B over J equals T over K. B over J equals T over K. They got it right that time. If they fooled you with part D, then carefully compare part D to part F. See why D was wrong and F was correct. Moving on to number 2. Number 2. Get this on the screen better. There we go. Okay. I'll tell you, let me just run around here real quick and make sure that everything is well centered. You can actually see everything. Yes, you can. Okay, we're cool. All right. Does D over F equal G over E? D over F equal G over E. Aha. They went this way on that one, but they went that way on the other. You can't do that. You have to be consistent in the direction that you go. You can't do this stuff. No. Wrong. Well, let me change colors again here. Need some contrast. There we go. All right, how about F over G equals E over D? How about F over G equals E? They did it wrong again. F over G and E over D, they can't be switching directions like that. That's also false. They better get some of these right. Let's see if they get a 50% on these. G over F. G over F. They better say E over D. Ah, they did. They got it right that time. And how about the last one, part D? D over F. D over F. Hopefully they're going to say E over G. Ah, yes, they did. They both went that way. That works. All right, let's move on to number 4. What's number 4 about? Ah, actual numbers. Cool. Hey, by the way, I got some of you, when you turned in the assignment, you got to number 12 and said, oh, I can't do this one. Folks, as I emphasized in class the other day, with an example on the board, if you can't at least figure out this, then you ain't trying. If the whole thing is 33 and this piece is 12, can't you figure out what this piece is? Well, sure I can. Then why did you leave number 12 blank? Because that was one of the questions in number 12. Come on, guys, get with it. Don't be so lazy. If this is 12, this has to be 21, because 12 plus 21 is 33. All right, so now we've got our scale factor, by the way. Well, in this case, we wouldn't really call it a scale factor. But what do we write? Simply that 12 over 21 equals 20 over x. Now, we could work with it from there. I would say, oh, I don't know how to make a 12 into a 20. Yeah, that's not easy. So you could just cross multiply. Or reduce your fraction. Make life easy on yourself. Divide by 3 and divide by 3. That'll become a 4. That'll become a 7. Now, that's easier. In fact, now you can use what I call the 4th grade method. As the 4th grade teacher would say, what do you multiply the 4 by to get 20? Oh, we multiply by 5. That's right. So we multiply the bottom by the same thing. 7 times 5, class? Oh, that's going to be 35. Yes, you are right. The 4th graders can do that, so can you. So x is 35. There's some other thoughts that come to mind. I'm just going to bypass those other thoughts and move on. Number 6. All right, hey, you've got choices here, just like you had back in the other one. We've got choices here as well. You can say 8 over 14 equals x over 21. Or you can say 14 over 21 equals 8 over x. Or 21 over 14 equals x over 8, or whatever. You've got 4 choices, right? It's your choice. So let's just go ahead and write 8 over 14 equals what? Think it through. Stay with me. I see somebody out there falling asleep. I don't care if you're in your pajamas. This is not a good time to fall asleep. Wake up! All right, thank you. It's 8 over 14 equals x over 21. X over 21. And now again, be nice to yourself. Reduce the fraction. That cuts down to 4/7. Let's just do it this way. 4/7. Hey, look at this. 3rd grade or 4th grade, whichever grade you learned this in. Method again. 7 times 3, so it's 4 times 3. X is 12. Ta-da! Hey, real quick, let me remind you of a trick. This thing that you'll most likely never see in any textbook in your entire lives. I call it a theorem Peer 3. Because we can take proportions and write them sideways if we want to, and then turn it back again, that implies that I can reduce these two denominators. Very dangerous because that only works with a proportion when there's an equal sign here. Don't even think about trying that if it's multiplication. 7 and 21 can be reduced to 1 and 3. And then cross multiply, x times 1 equals 3 times 4. Sometimes that little trick can save you a lot of work. In this case, it didn't make much difference. The fourth grade method was just fine. But sometimes canceling this way in a proportion, canceling this way can save you some work. Moving on, number 10, more of the same. Well, different theorem, actually it's the corollary, but same concepts. Oh, except this time, a little bit of algebra to deal with. That's all right, we can handle it. We could do 18 over this equals 9 over x, but there's an easier way. Let's do 18 over 9 equals 24 minus x over x. Why would I do it that way? Well, that way, without even having to use theorem Peer 3, I can just reduce 18 over 9. Reduce it to 2 over 1. And now we're practically done. Cross multiply. What's it mean to cross multiply? You multiply what we call the extremes, 2 times x, and set that equal to the product of the means, we call these. 1 times 24 minus x. Then you remember your basic algebra. Add x to both sides. Might as well draw that in here for those who never caught on to the algebra. I'm going to add x to both sides. Why? Because over here, minus x plus x, poof, gone. On this side, we have 3x. Divide both sides by 3, and we have x is 8. Congratulations. X is 8. We move on to the next part, number 12. Okay, in this case, they told us, I see what I'm saying. They told us that these two segments are parallel. Because they're parallel, we know that AR over RT, for instance, has to equal AN over NP, for instance. Now, here's the one I was talking about a moment ago. If you did not fill in this guy right here, then folks, shame, shame, shame. You need to get out of your pajamas, drink some tea, and get with it here. Because if AR is 6, okay, that didn't work. Try that again. If AR is 6 and RT is 4, don't you think I could probably even hand this to the 4th graders and they would know what AT would have to be? Yeah, 6 plus 4, 10. If you didn't get that one, you weren't trying. Now, of course, the rest of them require a little bit of algebra kind of stuff. So let's see, what else they give us here? They told us AN is 9, let's fill in the blanks. They told us TP is 15, TP is 15. We've now filled in the blanks, but that's work. Oh, get over it. What else do you have to do? We've got to play video games all day. That's going to get old. No, you need to do geometry all day, every day, yes. Draw the diagram, fill in the blanks. Finding NP should be pretty easy, right? It's going to be 6 over 4 equals 9 over NP. 6 over 4 equals 9 over NP. Hey, be nice to yourself, reduce the fraction. 6/4 becomes, cut them both in half. 3 halves, 3 halves. Oh, 4th grade method, 3 times 3, 2 times 3. This guy's got to be 6. How about that? NP, where is it? Where is it? There it is. NP is 6. See, that wasn't hard, was it? No, it wasn't. Oh, what about this one? How about AP? AP right there. Oh, yeah. 9 plus 6. Just 15. Nothing hard about that one. And RN. Rn is the one that might give some folks a little trouble until you get used to it. For Rn, let's just call it x for the moment, okay? Okay. If we call that guy x, it's going to be x over 15. But this is whole side of little triangle. This is whole side of big triangle. So x over 15 has to equal what? 6 over, not 4, but 6 over 10. Because if we're using the whole side of the big triangle here, we have to use the whole side of the big triangle there. X over 15 equals 6 over 10, not 6 over 4. By the way, if you did use 6 over 4, you would get a strange number here that's too big. You look at it and say, how could that be bigger than this? Yeah, it would not work. If you wrote x over 15 equals 6 over 4 and solved that, look at your answer for x. Isn't your answer for x more than 15? Does that make sense for this to be bigger than that? No, it doesn't. Ask yourself if your answer makes sense. If your answer doesn't make sense, go back and think it through, find your mistake. All right, so anyway, back to this. What do we have here? Hey, let's reduce 6/10. Let's call it 3/5. 3/5. I know, we've been using the 4th grade method. 5 times 3, 3 times 3, done. But let's just pause once again and review the cross multiplication method, because the numbers are not always this pretty. Cross multiplication would say 5x equals, I run across folks who don't remember what to put in between. If you don't put an equal sign in there, it gets really confusing and really wrong really fast. 5x equals 3 times 15. And we're practically done. Divide by 5, x is 9. So x is definitely 9. Rn is 9. Ta-da! Number 14, I'm just going to run through 14 very quickly. According to the little note I wrote myself here last year, I should be able to simply remove some masks and quickly get the answers thrown in here. I'm doing this to save some time. Oh, look at that. Wow, it works. And let's just kill stuff off here. Why the frowny face? Because in this particular problem, number 14, you take your diagram, fill in the numbers they gave you. They did not give you enough information to find an. Well, that's not fair. How was I supposed to know that? Well, you read the instructions. It says to fill in as many spaces as possible. Does not that imply that there will be some that are not possible? There's one right there. Oh, I didn't have answers in those guys. All right, let's go ahead and figure these guys out. Let's not. I'm simply going to cheat. No, that's not cheating. The teacher's allowed to do this. I'm going to simply look in the book for the answers to 14. How about, oh, okay, no, these also cannot be done. Oh, I know what I did wrong. I tried to delete. I should have just selected and cleared. That didn't work either. Oh well. So much for old plans. Okay, so those 3 cannot be done. Not very often where you can have a math assignment where leaving something blank is the correct answer, but in this case, leaving it blank is indeed the correct answer. Number 16. 16. Don't I have 16 here? Was there a 16? No, we stopped at 14, didn't we? I don't know. Hold on a moment. Let me just check my plan book. Make sure I know what I'm doing, because sometimes I don't, and I can't find my plan book. There it is. Did I only assign it to 14? That's right. We're done. Okay. Your review assignment. The assignment that will review the entire chapter pretty much is as follows. And we will be going over this assignment. I will not just give you answers, but we'll discuss the whole thing in the next video. This will be due, what did I put in my other plans here? Oh, I'm so confused. I don't know where anything is anymore. This will be due tomorrow by noon. Tomorrow by noon. think about it, that gives you more time to get it done than you would have had on a regular school day when you would have to have it done first thing in the morning. You have until noon. How nice. The assignment is page. There it is. 277, numbers 1 through 24 all. I'm going to peek in the book and make absolutely certain that that is the correct assignment, because yesterday I messed up on some of the algebra assignments, and I don't want to have any more mess-ups here. 277, that is the correct page, bottom of the page, numbers 1 through 24 all. Some of those problems may involve a little bit more algebra than you would expect to see on the test. And anything tricky in this? Nah, it's not tricky stuff at all. Very much like what you just did. Yeah. Okay, so you're in good shape there. The test, as I explained in a recent email, the test will be emailed to parents. Parents, if you're watching this or hearing in the background, parents, come in here for just a moment. Thank you. There in the kitchen. Come on over here, please. Okay, thank you. Could you have a seat here on the couch for just a moment? Okay, parents, I'm going to be sending the chapter test to the parents' email addresses on what day? On what day? I have that scheduled for Thursday, 2 days from now, on Thursday morning. From there, you can print it off and hand it to your young one, and they can take the test, and then you can please put your sign on the test to indicate that you did indeed proctor it, and then scan the pages or take pictures of them and send them to me by email. I will expect the test to be finished by what? I'm giving you until 3 o'clock. So from the time that I send it to parents, which will be 9-ish in the morning, I expect it to be done and sent back to me by 3 o'clock. Parents, please note this is a closed book test. No notes, no book. Calculator's okay. And please make sure that they do not have access to their cell phones or their smart watches or their laptop computers or anything else. Let's make sure that this is done with integrity, that everybody is doing it using their brain only, plus a calculator, and that's it. All right, so that's it. Page 277, numbers 1 through 24 all. If I happen to accidentally send you any emails indicating any other assignment, believe this one, don't believe anything else I may say. And that's the end of that. Thank you for watching. Not that you have a whole lot of choice, but thank you. And I'll be talking to you again tomorrow as we go over page 277. Goodbye.